Listeners of For the Greater Good podcast, hello and welcome to another episode here. I am one of your co-hosts, Chanel B.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode. I am your other co-host, Uzumaka or Giaco. Oh my goodness, we are in July. We are in summertime, official summer mode.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. It feels really good outside and just being outside
Warm
is
now.
so refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
I have not taken summer vacation in forever, and I'm hearing about people's adventures, and it's just so fun. I'm like, it's a real thing. You can get out and you can enjoy this time of year. So is there something that you're looking for during the summer? Are you looking to
I mean, for this summer, I'm actually looking forward to just spending more time with my other friends, traveling. I just came back from a cruise with my boyfriend. That was so fun. We did a Royal Caribbean cruise. Highly recommend. Plug to Royal Caribbean. Any of their ship cruise lines are really fun. So that was really, really nice and relaxing. I also had a ton of weddings coming up. So I went to a wedding and I have a bachelorette trip and another wedding coming up. So this summer is going to be packed.
That is so true.
But in a good way.
Good. And just for the same note,
Yeah.
just to get out and just have a good time and enjoy the time of year, really, I think it's just really magical to find that restorative balance. You've been working hard all year. We've been cooped up during like the cooler months, colder months. So it's just nice to get out.
Anything new and exciting for you that you're looking forward to this summer?
Yes, I would. Yeah, spending time with new people. Spending time with new people, new energies in my space, and doing things with my friends that we've not done in the past. Just to be outside with friends and to reconnect and to feel each other again in the space that, okay, like your guys are there. And versus, we talk every now and then and we don't really see and connect.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And just to rekindle the spirit, talking about today's episode, listen to this podcast episode, and one of the doctors on that episode said something about the experience of pain even long after it has passed. And so I was thinking of my own life and reflecting on that space, and it had me come upon trauma tax. And really, it is the emotional price that we pay in relationships and experiences even years after the original cost, the original purchase has passed. And it's just, what does that look like for us? And even though we are not aware, there are circumstances in life that we still feel like we're paying the price of that. And knowing that our podcast is about a healing podcast and just life and moving forward and finding respect and ownership in those experiences, knowing that while we have made progress, I still feel like some of that is holding on to cells, like still have a being in who I am. And I just want us to explore that conversation.
I think that's very interesting. I think that when you proposed the topic to me, I was like, I've never heard of it like that. But it's true. And it's a lot of the reasons why we encourage everybody and encourage you all as our listeners to really tune in and just be engaged in like these conversations. Not only we're sharing our experiences, but this is exactly the purpose, so that we're not continuously carrying on these burdens and letting that affect where we want to go moving forward, affecting the people that we're meeting, our current relationships, family, friends, significant others, work, all of that. So yes, I think it's important, and I'm really happy that we're going to be talking about it today.
Yeah. Me too. We can start the episode with embracing this thought. We are not looking for someone to blame. Personally, for me, I'm looking to understand my mind, my body, and my heart. What did it learn in order to keep me safe? And that's the space I'm looking at this conversation from. You can open up the dialogue by asking this question. Have you ever noticed yourself reacting to someone who hadn't done anything wrong, but your body was convinced they eventually would?
Yeah. I mean, conversation. Yeah. I think that can be said. One, it's easy to say that in like obviously the relationship space and friendship space too. I think when we've been hurt, I know for me, one way that I've noticed that is when you meet someone new, whether that is someone you are trying to pursue, you're trying to talk to, trying to get to know from a romantic standpoint, and also when you're meeting people like friends, and you have constantly had time and again experiences of people disappointing you, people hurting you. You know, you can't always control how other people are going to react to you, but you can control how you respond. But I think when you've had multiple occasions of you just constantly experiencing that, then it's easy for you to automatically think that this new person is going to do something wrong. And so you react in a very stern and very, your guards are just up.
Oh, you push them away.
Exactly.
Without
Instantly.
even knowing that is an automatic
I know that I've
response.
done that multiple times. Like, you know, when we're out with, like, for example, going out with my girlfriends, and a guy wants to come and approach and talk, and he could be extremely, like, genuine, but because we're all like, nah, I'm not
On guard.
on guard, it's just like, nope. And the guy's just like, dang, what did I do?
That is so
Yeah.
true, right? What did I do? The what did I do somebody receives based on what somebody else had done
I
to
know,
them.
and it's not fair to people either.
Yeah.
But I think we just need to, as we're talking about today, like acknowledge that that is happening, and then start asking ourselves, like, okay, how can we just let this go? Or or it could be a signal that there's also something underlying that we still need to work through.
100. There is still something within your space, within your energy field that needs to be cleared for you. And it is either by the absence of awareness or the fact that it is so strongly seated in your presence that it is just hard to uproot them. But again, I feel like if you have awareness, it is easy for you to see you going on that road with someone and coming to the realization that, oh my God, I'm in this space, I'm choosing this person, this way, I'm using these words that is pushing them away or putting up barriers. How can I allow myself to be present in a different way, control my language, control the words that I'm going to use? I can certainly say I've 100% noticed it, and I still notice it. And at first, it's for the exact same thing. It was my mind and my cellular being knowing this as a way that it processed initial experiences for it to protect me, thinking that I want to keep you safe because that is my mind's first priority.
Right.
Is to ensure that it can keep me safe and keep me protected. And I was like, oh, I'm just being that way. And it's super cool to be that way. Like, no, you're not coming close to me. I'm good. But it is like, I think this person is a threat, and I think you need to stay away because I don't want you to feel the way that you felt before and have to go through the phase of all the recovery and all the process of cleaning that out of you. But it was so beautiful. Oh my goodness, to just hear that from just to understand that I don't have to be that way for the rest of my life. I can actually be a different way. I can choose to be a different way.
So we're gonna obviously ask each other like some questions and like just really get into the nitty gritty of this conversation because I'm actually really excited. So I guess for you, Sheila, like, what did you first realize in your past relationship was still influencing how you experienced people afterwards?
First, in conversation. I say that my love language are words of affirmation because it's so
Same.
It stands up for me. So honestly, like I expect what you say to me is gonna be what carries the relationship most honestly, most genuinely. Because what you say to me is how I begin to trust that who you're coming in my life as somebody I'm willing to accept and welcome. And I noticed that this person would say this, and I'm like, oh my God, she's like my ex. Oh my goodness, this is where this is going to go. And now I start to build triggers to now try to protect me. If he says this, if he does this, this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. And it makes me very hyper aware that maybe I can't talk this way in this relationship. Maybe I can't say those things. Maybe I cannot be this way. And it would be from words first, and then everything else just went downhill or uphill because there are certain moments that I did realize it and I was able to pull myself together. But in certain relationships and in certain situations, I have found that my desire and my need to want to please my red flag warnings and the person that I still know this is present, but I still continue the pursuit of wanting to be the best me for them to see.
Interesting. Okay. I think that I would agree on, for me as well, it's done some conversations as an example, but I think in going further, it's exactly certain things that they will say, like you said, triggers. And also I'll give an example from like a romantic perspective. If they're trying to move at a similar pace that the person you were previously dating were moving, or even faster, and that can even act like a trigger, because you're just like, I felt this before, this is familiar, I know the road this is gonna lead to, and I'm not doing that again. But what's hard about that though is because I feel like even though something that another person did to you it really shouldn't affect how this new person that you're meeting is going to treat you, but it's just so hard because it does. And it's like, how do you explain that it's not that I'm giving the person I was just with more benefits, and I'm restricting you because of and as a way to
Punish or
Yeah,
to
like,
take you back.
a way to punish or hold someone back because, oh, this is how this went in this past relationship. I'm not bringing that, but it's hard because I feel like sometimes it's hard to describe like the fine line between these are like lessons I'm taking away from my past relationships, and this is why I have these boundaries and restrictions now, because I realized that when I did this with this person and it led down this, I didn't really like that. And that I realized that I was actually not respecting my own boundaries and putting my needs and interests. I was belittling that for someone else. So now I'm trying to do the opposite, and this person probably is taking a little offense to that because they're like, wait, this person got this treatment and now I can't get the same. And it's like, well, no, it's not that. It's just I am taking certain things that I've learned and I'm now applying that here because this is how I want to move moving forward. And so I think it's just trying to get to a point where you can effectively communicate that so that the other person doesn't feel like they are kind of getting the short end of the stick because they couldn't experience like certain things.
That is so beautifully and painfully said, because
I
it
know.
is so true.
Yeah.
That your boundaries and your protection of self, because it becomes inadvertently somebody's way of not experiencing you fully and authentically for who you are,
Exactly.
who you want to be without.
Exactly. And that's I think the hardest part is like, how do you take certain things that you've learned from a past relationship? Yes, you're reacting from how this other person like treated you, but in a way it's also like lessons, and you're now like, oh, I want to set this boundary next time because it makes I feel safe and I feel comfortable.
Right.
And it's like the next person just has to, they don't have to, but it would be a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
So with that being said, how do you tell that person that we don't have to be, hey, I'm coming to you and one to schedule an appointment after you've been dating for a month or whatnot, and say, this is my checklist, or these are my rules.
I just am honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
But
just
do you
honest.
progressively share that as events happen that kind of rubs you the wrong way, or you just in the beginning lay out everything so that they're fully aware of the space that they're coming into.
Oh no,
I think laying it all. I mean, some people will go with that approach, but I think laying it all out is a little bit too forward because there's no context really. You're just kind of like sharing and blabbing about what someone else did wrong, and nobody likes to hear that. I mean, it's just that. Like, so I think what I've done, especially in my current relationship, and that I think that makes the reason why it's so successful now, and I'm really happy now, is because not only did I do the work, but I took some time and I was very intentional, and I explained throughout our dating process, we're still obviously dating, but throughout our getting to know each other process, when we're just talking and stuff, like, hey, I know you want, for example, he wanted to kiss me on the second date, and I was like, no.
I remember.
I know, because I definitely told you, and I was like, no, but not because I wanted to like restrict that, but I was like, hey, like, I do too, but I still want to get to know you, and that's a lesson that I'm learning from my past relationship. It's just like, hey, like, we'll get there, but I still want to get to know you. And a second date, I mean, just for me personally, like it's not enough for me to now want to be all over you.
Yeah,
At least
right.
just for
Yeah.
me.
No,
But
that's good. That's good.
but it's just like intentionally like now explaining that like, hey, not saying it from a perspective of like, oh, I'm taking this lesson from my last relationship, but saying like, I've enjoyed my time spending time, the time that we have spent with each other, and I'm still getting to know you, and I really do want to continue and see where this progresses, but like, can we just spend some more time like getting to know each other first? I think that works. That's just like an example, but I feel like that is a way to like explain, and then when things happen, it's like, okay, they understand like this is just who she is. And some people could, I mean, he could have honestly been like, who is this? Like, heck no. Other people I've been with had kissed me on this first or second date. Who is this chick? But he was very mature.
Exactly.
And that's the difference. Is like you just have to meet your boundaries, and it's whatever makes you feel comfortable and safe, and how you want to be treated in the future. And if you don't communicate that, then it's kind of like you're doing yourself a disservice, and then it's up to that person to respect. And then I think it's an important factor to know if you want to like, just in that example, in that like context, if you want to be with someone, you know, are they going to respect your boundaries? Are you communicate something that makes you feel unsafe? Are they going to respect that, honor that?
Well, that is so true, because at the end of the day, for you to want to communicate that,
Yeah.
it is also asking that person, will you respect me and accept me as I am?
Mm-hmm.
What part of you felt the most threatened then when you realized that your past relationship was still influencing your current relationships? Why do you think we rarely notice we're paying this emotional tax?
Because maybe some things we just haven't acknowledged at all.
Fair enough.
And sometimes you don't really know what's hidden or things that you still are carrying until something or someone brings it out of you through an experience, or something happens and that it just triggers that emotion out of you.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes that's how I feel like a lot of these things that we are carrying can go unnoticed, because if I just said, I'm just never gonna date anymore, and I'm just not gonna, everybody's a threat to me.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't know what I need to work on. I would just be sitting in my own little bubble, in my own little universe here, and I wouldn't go out and put myself in, and I'm out of my comfort zone, and I wouldn't know, oh, I reacted way more than I needed to in that instance, and that is a sign to me that, okay, there's still something I still feel still something that I need to work through. I still feel threatened. I think in that moment that I shared about like kissing and all that on the first date, at least for me, just something that I wanted to just do moving like forward. But I think for me in that instance when he asked, I felt like I instantly froze. I was like, how do I get out of this? But in a way where it's like, because I just feel like as women, we try to like say like, no, sometimes it's just not perceived. Yeah. It's just not taken well, and it's like sucks, because it's like, dang, I'm really trying to be genuine. I'm really trying to honor myself, and it's just hard, but we have to keep trying. Yeah. So I felt scared because I didn't know how he was going to react. That's how I felt threatened.
Yeah.
In that example.
That makes the most sense. I can totally resonate with that.
Mm-hmm.
That part of me felt the most threatened, that I could not speak my mind. I could not be me. I could not be silly. I could not be goofy. I could not really say.
Be yourself.
Yes. I couldn't really say certain things that I would see happening in the relationship that probably bothered me, or in circumstances that bothered me. And I would just be silent about it because I was scared of repercussions from saying what I said. I did not notice I was paying this emotional tax. So that is what was happening. I just felt like that is what the circumstances around me was asking of me. This happened in the past when you were yourself. You was asked to change. You wasn't accepted. You were being seen as mediocre. So now if you come into this relationship with the same instance of how you were, you're going to be seen as the same. And now you're going to have the same cycle of somebody treating you a certain way and speaking to you a certain way. So you just think that is just how the world works for you. And you operate that way. And so you just continue this. And then if it seemed like it could probably happen there and you guys break up, then I've gone to the next relationship thinking, all right, well, all right, let's begin this. Let's begin this round of games. But not really what the game. I was really truly there.
Yeah.
But thinking back on it, it just felt like I was going from it didn't work. All right, do we do the same thing here? How do we do this? What is the new directions that I need to follow in this relationship? And relationships should not have rules and directions in that way, because you're not really genuinely experiencing the person, and you're not giving them an authentic experience of who you are.
Exactly. I feel like every person deserves a fresh start. In that example that you shared, like what conclusions did you reach about yourself because of that experience?
I can't genuinely be myself in a relationship. Who I am will not be feminine enough, and will never be good
I hope you can,
enough, right?
because you should be able to.
Absolutely. Yes. And will this always be my life? To be honest, that was a heavy one. Will this always be my life? I have to figure out how to always be someone else with someone else. Because you're always trying to, all right, this did not work here, and I've done this so that this doesn't happen again. But then this happens, and this whatever you fixed did not work here. So you're always trying to. I was always trying to model myself to be suitable in the environment of the relationship, and for me, that wasn't. There were probably 40% of me that was always missing. The tenacity, the authenticness, the determination, the presence, the love, the intimacy wasn't always there as I would have wanted.
Sorry. But you should.
Life is getting better. We're those points. And love is too.
Yes. I guess so in my instance, I concluded that I just need more time. And that's something that I've learned about myself, is like, it's okay to pace yourself.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
It is
okay.
okay.
Just like, let's just take our time and let things flow naturally as they come, and it doesn't feel rushed, and it just feels more genuine. And I could tell you that when I was ready to kiss him, he was genuinely very surprised. So, and he was very happy. Not because I made him like wait or anything, but he just felt like, wow, like, okay, like, one, I honored what I said, and yeah, and it showed him like, okay, we're moving forward, like we're progressing.
I really like that. That's so beautiful. Yes.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to him. We do have emotional threats in those circumstances and relationships. So the question is that our nervous system doesn't ask, who is this person? It first asks, who does this person remind me of? Right? So now they begin to pay for something else somebody else did. How do emotional threats quietly become emotional expectations?
I feel like if you say you put up say something happened, you put up a boundary, right, and that person didn't respect that, then now you have that feeling of you can't put up boundaries because people just won't respect them. So I feel like that's one way, and it's just kind of hard because, like I mentioned earlier, like what we've been talking about, we just can't control how other people are going to react and respond, but we can control how we respond. So I just think that in order for them not to become emotional expectations, like, I think we should just treat each instance as a separate occurrence. I think that's kind of how, during my own healing journey, I was able to separate out a lot of things and not just make certain generalizations about characteristics of people. Like, hey, this happened with this person, that's a separate occurrence. Like, that has to do with that person, their worldviews, how they see everything, the biases, all that stuff that's going on, how they communicate, how they receive and perceive things and information. So that had nothing to do with the next person. This is just them and that person. So apply the same thing. Like, I shouldn't use that one instance and then now apply it to everything else and then have that expectation for the same type of people. Like, oh, that reminds me of this or that reminds me of that. I think that does us more disservice than good.
It's so, because the line becomes so merged.
Yeah.
That threat becomes the expectation that, oh, he if I say this, he reacts this way. I should not. So then that merges, and it's very hard to differentiate what is going to be that emotional experience you want to have without that threat.
Yeah.
And if that threat if the threat does not exist, will I feel the same way? Will how I have processed, does he care about me? If the threat doesn't happen, does he still care about me? It's almost like, looking for the threat to validate what's happening in that relationship and to prove that it is genuinely a relationship or a place that you want to be.
Yes, and also too, it also causes you to now have that subconscious thought as well. So then now you just start playing out your your thoughts, and and then things just keep happening. You're just like, why is this thing type of thing keep happening? And then because you subconsciously have those emotional expectations.
Your brain is wired now to just think this is how things should be.
Exactly.
My emotional rules were don't speak too loudly, right?
You don't even speak loud. You have such a soft, like, voice.
But I suppose when I become Caribbean, something else might come up.
That's funny.
Don't know.
Switch.
Right, exactly. The switch probably is very there. Yeah. That if I spoke too loudly, or if I spoke in a way that sounded that it was I was berating my partner, or I was not open to this is how you should do this, their recommendation, their suggestion, that I would be shut off. So I needed to say the right thing within the boundaries of what will not allow me to be shut off, cast off from my own relationship.
Yeah.
And I think for me, naturally, I test without me knowing how safe I am with someone based on how hard I laugh with them, how free I am in the circumstance of laughing with them and saying silly things and just laughing my heart out. And I found that in both romantic and friend relationships after that. And that's usually my measure of how present I am there and how I am, like, I can just be myself, really.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I think my emotional rules too. So it obviously, for me, came from a very early on. Like growing up, we couldn't obviously like talk back and things like that. So I also was taught subconsciously to like belittle myself a little bit and not speak up more. So for me to survive, I rarely like spoke up in rooms. Like even to this day, sometimes I find it challenging to speak up or to comment on things if I'm in a group setting, because I just prefer to just listen. And for me, that's growing up, that has kept me sane and safe from getting a whipping. Mainly not because I'm like saying anything bad, but it's like, oh, if I want to comment and say like, actually, I think this, or that's not true, like this is how I think. It's like I was reprimanded for that, and that's just like an example. But for me, and so that's something that I took in now, and as an adult, I'm trying to unlearn that and say it's okay to like speak up and not shrink yourself just to be accepted.
Yeah.
In a room or in a space, and that's how it shows up with safe people later. So say I'm in like, could be sitting here having a discussion and I'm just like listening, taking things in, and I'm like, okay, but then I won't, speak up because I've just been like conditioned to like not speak my mind.
That is so limiting because again, you're safe with that person. Yeah. How did betrayal and the betrayal that we both went through in our own initial relationship circumstances which inspired the podcast, how did betrayal affect your ability to trust future interactions? Did honesty become harder to believe?
Oh, at first, yeah. At first, it wasn't like I couldn't trust anyone in the future. I was more so worried about if I could trust myself. Because when you get betrayed, you also do lose a sense of trust within yourself, because you're like, how did I not see these quote unquote signs of this person's behavior leading up to the time that we eventually like split, And I think that does, especially when somebody like deceives you for so long too, you're just like, where the heck was my mind at? Like, you're just like, know that emoji that's like, whoa, like, that's a bit I can't describe that. Like, it's literally how I felt. And I'm just like, just so like shaken because I'm like, I'm operating with not like thinking this is like everybody's such a nice and kind person, but you just don't, as when you trust someone and you're with someone for so long, you just don't, and you would never think in the world that they would do something, to
betray and trust.
yeah, to hurt you like in that way. And so you do lose a sense of trust within yourself. I felt this way with people in general. It wasn't like, it's my perception of how this person about, yeah, this relationship I have with this person, whether it be friends, romantic partner, coworkers, just anyone I'm meeting in general, like, is this really a relationship? Are we friends? Are we good? Like, are we good? Like, I started questioning the legitimacy of the relationship. It caused me to just overanalyze
Absolutely.
a lot. And my mind was just like constantly running because I was just overanalyzing every tiny little detail, every like energy shift, conversations with people, just things I don't even need, like you wouldn't even think about. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And for me to get out of that, I had to take some time and learn the psychology behind betrayal, which is what I did. And that was very eye-opening. And then I was like, oh, it really helped just take the blame off of myself. And I started learning, like, okay, like, there's nothing wrong with you. You are completely a sane human being. Your instincts are normal. Like, the way that you perceive things and your social skills are normal. There's nothing wrong with that there. These are just certain things that you need to just be more cognizant of. And once I started unlearning that and learning to build that trust within myself, honesty became a lot easier because as long as I was showing up as my true self, then
What else can you do?
what else can I do?
Yeah.
So it was a lot of work, but I'm really happy about that. And currently I've moved way past all of that.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's
Mhm.
really good. That means you've done the work, and
Yeah.
it can really hold you back. It
It
can
can.
really hold you back if you step into a space not being to honestly be
Mhm.
you and interpret somebody else's intentions as
Mhm.
genuine.
Yeah.
So, and taking another step further for that, talking about protection and paying old debts. Do you develop protective habits after your heartbreak and life-changing event as well? And what did it give you?
I had to. It felt
Mm.
like it was survival.
Yeah.
So the protective habits that I developed, one as keeping on the same tone of just language and just being able to speak, I just would be more selective
Yeah.
of my words, and also in most recent time come with the ownership of what I'm choosing to say is not that I am being selective of what I want to say, but I'm also still expressing it in a way that is not confrontational, is not going to sound like it is disrespectful to the person. I'm still trying to inquire what I'm trying to say. I'm going to ask it in a way, I'm still going to express myself in a way that I feel honestly says who I am. But it's just a different selection of the words that I have had. And I would say additional to another protected habit is a time frame, as you mentioned with kissing your boyfriend. The time frame that I give for somebody to show up in my life, to not be like, all right, after the second date, oh, I really like this person, let's go along, right?
Which you could totally feel that way, and that's totally genuinely how you feel.
Yes, that could be for look for me. It felt like that wasn't working, and I needed to give myself more time. I cannot jump into situation. So it was all right, let's give it time. Let's really see where things are going. It gave me the peace of mind to just know that things are working in accordance of how it should work out.
Yeah.
And you also have the boundary to feel like you did not share your energy just delinquently to somebody without okay, I'm just gonna spend that time with somebody. It's not gonna mean anything. My time and energy was more meaningfully given.
I understand that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Have you caught yourself experiencing someone in an automatic state of your past or your painful memories?
No.
No. In a good way. Which is good. It's none of that. No. And I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
But at the same time though, I will give like another example to just from like a workplace standpoint. So one thing that I've been like slowly working on, of course, is just like how to separate, just when you're starting a job and everything, like you're getting to know your coworkers. Some people have like mixed ideas or beliefs about like, are your coworkers actually your true, like, are your friends? And I feel like they can be if that's like naturally how the relationship flows and you guys get close and things like that. But I think sometimes, say like a coworker, you leave that job and then now all of a sudden it's like the relationship is just like gone. And so that's something that has happened to me like in the past, like getting close to people that you previously worked with, and then because you're no longer there, like your relationship kind of like fizzles out, and it just like constantly reminds you of like the pain of like getting laid off and things like that. And it's like I know we're in the season of that, just given how the economy is and everything, but that was like an example. So not from like a relationship standpoint, but just more so in the context of just starting a new job, leaving an old job, and relationships like coming and going. I think that's
Good. That's
Yeah.
very healthy because you can easily, again, that tax is unless you catch yourself, that tax is continuously
yeah.
paid, and it will compound interest.
It does.
And that's where the weight of that circumstance becomes way too much for you to carry. And it goes on autopilot because you can't even differentiate what is the emotional threat, what is the emotional experience, what is happening here.
Yeah.
And then you just go in the cycle loop of just operating at a certain instance. And most often that automatic state is not something that is healthy, because you always want to just know that you are operating within the means of I'm present in the moment. And if you operate automatically, immediately from my stance says that I'm not presently there. I'm not there anymore. This is just happening with me and to me and around me, but I'm not a part of the moment.
It can be something that's very difficult and different. Yeah. And for you, like, are there any freedoms that you have quietly become expensive? And if yes, like, what would you say those are?
What freedoms have quietly become expensive? I would say the freedom of knowing that I don't always have to be on in a relationship. Like, you can want to have your time apart, they can want to have the time apart. And that doesn't mean that you're getting a silent treatment. That doesn't mean that the person doesn't care.
No, it's good to have your own separate lives outside.
In my mind, you don't care anymore.
Sometimes distance makes the heart grow fonder. Is that still a thing?
I think it's still a thing, absolutely. Yes, but that was a freedom that it cost me. It's just the fact of I can go about my day without hearing from you for 24 hours, which is fine. If there's good, healthy communication, like I'm very much of an Aquarius, so I will go maybe 48 hours without having to talk to you. But I feel like when you're in a good health relationship, you always want to talk to your person, whether it's a check-in or whether it's just this, you always want to hear from them. And for me, the threat was that, oh, if I don't hear from you, like you don't care anymore, like you're somewhere else, like something else is keeping you occupied. And my goodness, I didn't realize that was something that I was living with, and just took things from me, because again, you are not feeling like that person is next to you, and you're not building stories in your head that this is done. You've invested all this time into somebody. What about all the moments? What about all the things that we've done? Did that not mean anything? You're tearing down these castles you built in the sky. And I mean, it's just so exhausting. It's just painfully exhausting to kind of leave in that arena.
Yeah, I understand that.
And it just asks the question again, that the hypervigilance is one of the hidden costs of that emotional tax. Do you ever feel like you misjudged someone because your past convinced you danger had arrived?
Obviously, yeah.
How did you misjudge them?
it happened to me like in the early stages. So when I was like trying to get back out there and like did it again, and then I really realized you're not quite ready yet. You're not quite ready yet. Yeah, I think it was just in their approach. Yeah, it was just in their approach. They were just a little too aggressive, a little too forward with trying to get my number. And once you get it, then it's just like, okay, then there's nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, are you not serious? It's just like, this is like, again, why a lot of sometimes don't bother giving out. Especially when we go out and we meet someone, like, I'm not trying to like cause any like debate or anything, but it's the truth. Like, we don't see a need because those are gonna use the number, don't ask for it.
Right.
And so that was one way I misjudged someone. Was like they were asking me for my Instagram, and I was like, "You want just want my number?" And he was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Why? What's going on? You want to talk? Just talk to me." I didn't think of anything of it, but I totally was like, "Oh." Okay. And the content was talking about hypervigilance and the hidden cost. Like, were there any beautiful moments that trauma like almost stole from you?
Oh,
Or
for
did.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I still feel like it's stealing now.
Yeah.
Like the last few days has certainly been very, very eye-opening.
Mhm.
And it has, in the sense of just knowing that somebody can be experiencing something, not because you are with someone or you're dating someone, you're courting them, doesn't mean that you guys have completely a symbiotic life right now and everything that they feel you feel and all of that. Like there is an existence of self separate from the relationship. And so what it has stolen is the understanding that if I'm feeling a certain way, which is probably very excited, the person might not be feeling that when they might be going through something else entirely out from this world that I think that we are in.
Mhm.
And it's okay for them to feel that without feeling like, again, oh, they no longer care about me. At first, I thought it was, again, just protection, that I needed to check in more just to make sure that we're good versus assumption that we're good and we're not good. And then it just going to the derailment of things.
Mhm.
But I can now also see that as a way that it is my safety that is on that.
Yeah.
All right, I want to make sure you're okay so that we're okay. And you can let the person be.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
Do you feel like your nervous system has begun to honestly trust again? And I feel like you've shared that, so that would probably
Yeah.
be a yes.
Yeah. I think
And
it has.
yeah,
It really
what
has.
or who helped with that?
I would say, well, obviously my current boyfriend has helped. Like, just, I don't even want to say like it takes a good person to like erase all this stuff, because obviously most of that work has to come from you, and I don't want to put this person on like a huge pedestal. Like, oh, if this doesn't work out, then forget everything that I've ever worked through and all that, you know. But I definitely would say a huge part of it does go to him, just for being patient. I think his patience has been really helpful, and I'm very grateful and honored to just be with someone that is so patient and understanding and just genuinely caring about my like well-being and safety, and just making sure that I'm good. That really helped. But before obviously meeting him, like what actually really helped was I just decided to let go. I think I've shared this before in the past too. I decided to just let go of everything that I've ever been through, and not completely forgetting, but just giving myself permission to let it go. In a way where it's saying to myself, that stuff happened, it's obviously not your fault, but like this is just how your life is growing. But at the same time, you're giving yourself permission to let it go just means I've accepted what has happened, and I'm ready to move forward from it and take lessons that I've learned and apply that to wherever I'm going forward. But it really was just like telling myself to just let it go.
More free.
I was more free.
Yeah,
absolutely. I was definitely a lot more free. Yeah. Can you, Chanel, complete the sentence? I knew healing begun when
I knew healing began when I felt like I could trust myself, that I
It's so
can,
important.
yes, that I can show up, I can show you myself, tell you this is who I am, and I can be okay if you accept me for who I am, you're willing to pursue me, and let that be where it lands. It is just so helpful to know that you're not just living for somebody to choose you and to accept you, but you are quite good with yourself. And I was just in a happy space to know that I can make choices, that I can own and take accountability for whatever happens. And I was responsible for how I showed up in a relationship and not responsible for how someone treated me, because that these actions would be on them, not on me.
Yeah.
How would that look for you?
say I knew I was free when I made a decision to let it go. But my true healing started when when I started the process of, same with you, learning to trust myself and started asking more questions about how did I show up in each of these circumstances and instances and experiences. Just really going inward and taking that time to just really, I journaled like crazy. I watched a lot of podcasts and videos and read a lot of books, and that's when I knew healing had begun. When I just like went inward and I just like silenced everything around me, and I just locked in.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
That can sound like a lot of work, and it is, to be honest, because
I mean, I enjoyed it, but
because for some of us, we think that we want closure from the person sometimes, or live in the world that they completely wronged us,
Yeah.
without having to think of our own responsibility in this.
So I guess to close, we do invite you all to
pause, gather yourself, and take a breath.
Yes. The following questions can give you direction as you might have started to reflect during the conversation and answer questions to ponder on your own life. So the first one will be, what emotional bill am I still paying?
what relationship wrote those beliefs?
Who in my life today deserves the chance to be experienced without carrying someone else's history?
And what would change if I allowed today's evidence to speak louder than yesterday's wounds? For both of us to answer kind of these like closing questions and wrapping things up, but what has your trauma convinced you is too expensive to experience?
Genuine love.
Yeah.
Genuine love that there isn't a rule book to
Yeah.
love. It's the experience of the moment, moment after moment. And that's what write the rules for your relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
And it can be so honest to just know that if this doesn't work today, the person that you're with can trust you and you can trust them to write something new for tomorrow with you. And not just write down this is how we do things, but say, all right, we'll go to this level of experience.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I would say the same answer is for me too. Yeah. But in addition to genuine love, but just a genuine life, like a good life, just filled with not being afraid to go after experiences and to go after things and putting yourself out of your comfort zone.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Because sometimes those emotional wounds from just relationships that make you think like that's how the whole world operates with you. And that limits how you show up in the workplace, your family relationship, your friendships. Again, that is very true. So also be thinking about those things, those different areas of your life. If there were no trauma taxed on that experience, who would you be?
You know, part of me also, I'm sure a lot of people probably experience this too, like, man, like they just want to go back to the person they were before all of that went down, you know? And it's like, I've been wrestling with that lately and really thinking, like, do I really want to go back? Because that person didn't recognize certain things. That person wasn't aware of certain things. That person that didn't have just the knowledge that I have now. So it's like, do I really want to go back? And the answer to me, like, I feel like I'd be the same person. And I feel like I wouldn't be as strong as I am now.
If there were no trauma tax in that experience, who would you be? Oh, I think I would be somebody who was more in the moment, who was more genuine, who was not thinking about, am I showing up better than the last person they might have dated? Because that was a judgment that I had to deal with. And so knowing that that experience was there, but I'm not letting it allow for me to show up in that relationship thinking about somebody else or try to be better than the last person, then I could be somebody who was more free and whatnot. But if that trauma tax had not been experienced at all, I think I would be somebody that was not as strong, not very aware. I wasn't challenged in the emotional capacity that I've had to be challenged and not trust certain things and open my eyes up to things that I want to experience in life moving forward. So I'm grateful for it. It is part of me. I've welcomed it. I've embraced it. But it's a beautiful dichotomy of my life to say, well, this is what I'm building from. These are the plants in the garden of my life. And they've built something that you look back on in a beautiful way.
Yay. Well, cheers to us moving forward and no longer carrying these trauma taxes and having it cost us
Absolutely.
from living the life that we want to live.
Yeah. And we want to ask you the same because just as I wasn't thinking about it, I imagine perhaps there is somebody out there that is not thinking about it in the sense that how things have played out for me or an experience that happened to me is still costing you right now. Just look at it more closely and just maybe work with the questions that we have asked each other here and figure out for your own life what it looks like for you and how you also want to let that time go.
Yeah.
But yeah, we wish you all the best. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Thank you for joining us here.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Be sure to follow us on all the platforms that we have our podcast on Spotify and Amazon Music. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for the Greater Good Pod and follow us on Instagram where you'll receive updates on our newest episodes as well for the Greater Good Pod as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next one.